In the last few weeks alone, I've gone on 3 trips for work and personal things. I've been planning our move to the States next month, including the logistics and the movers and the going away party to organize, and seeing family for the last time in a while, and selling our car, downsizing our stuff. And we had our wedding this year, which honestly, planning that is a full-time job in itself. All while running this YouTube channel, trying to socialize where I can, and coaching clients. Just summarizing this makes me dizzy. Now, it would be a complete lie to say that I never get overwhelmed, because I absolutely do. But this system I've built has really helped me ground myself, focus, and recenter in those moments of chaos, so I can stay on top of all these things and go after them without burning out or becoming paralyzed by all the to-dos and mental workload compounding in my head. And in this video, I'm going to share exactly how I do it. Because frankly, I would be drowning if I didn't have the system in place. I would absolutely be stuck in this vicious cycle of burning out, feeling overwhelmed, and chasing those last-minute deadlines all over again. And I would be the first person to procrastinate responding to important emails, or making those important phone calls, or scripting my YouTube videos, or just getting anything done on my to-do list, not because I was lazy, but because I was so overwhelmed that I didn't even know where to get started. But now, having these 7 strategies I'm about to tell you in place, I feel in control and clear-headed, and I'm actually able to get it all done, even with a to-do list that feels like it's never ending. So I really don't want to be dramatic, but this system has really changed everything for me. So I always start by clearing out all the chaos in my brain. Your brain isn't made to store all the to-do lists, but to process them. So the first step is to externalize everything and make the invisible visible. For me, that means doing a good old brain dump. So I grab a piece of paper and write down everything that's on my mind. So literally anything that I either need to do or organize. And I actually really like to do it outside, where I can get some fresh air and maybe even some sunlight while I do it, because honestly, that alone will really help you wake up your brain and kind of create this clean slate. And so once I've got all those tasks on paper, the next step is to then categorize them to help my brain make even more sense of it. So for example, for me, those categories are usually health coaching, YouTube, photography, right now moving, and miscellaneous. But even having these categories in place, just a long list like that would still obviously completely overwhelm me if I didn't do this next step, which is prioritizing by urgency using a very simple 3-color system. So anything red means it's urgent, yellow means it needs to get done soon, but it can wait a little, and then blue or green can mean it can absolutely wait. And so using this 3-color system really helped me get rid of any kind of decision fatigue I had before. Because when you look at your to-do list now, you will immediately know what needs attention first. And trust me, that really is a total game changer, because you don't have to sit there wondering every single time you start a new task, what needs to get done, what should I focus on first, what do I need to prioritize right now? Because it's already right in front of you using simple colors. The only important thing here is that you need to prioritize by urgency and not by importance. This at first may sound counterintuitive, I get it. When I first heard about this, I was confused myself, but it's actually quite logical. Here's why. If you only focus on what's important, but you ignore what's actually urgent, you'll end up creating so much unnecessary stress for yourself, because you'll use up energy for all those tasks that are important in the long run, but risk leaving those more time-sensitive tasks until last minute. Or even worse, missing the deadline completely. So always urgency over importance when it comes to your to-do lists. Okay, so now we have all our to-do lists, we have it color-coded and everything. At this stage, I either just work from the list, because sometimes that's already enough to get me going, but on other days, I need to take it even a step further to get even less overwhelmed. And so what I do, I'll pick the 5 most urgent red highlighted tasks and write them separately down on my daily calendar. And then that way, that is all I can see. I'm not tempted or have to look back at the big to-do list with all those tasks, with all those colors, because sometimes looking at that will just make you go spiral and get overwhelmed all over again by seeing everything that's still waiting on that list for you. So having those 5 very clear tasks only on your daily to-do list can sometimes make it feel much more manageable, and you just go at it. Controversial opinion, but I actually like to anti-batch my to-do list, because it keeps my mind fresh, my creativity flowing, and stops me from burning out by focusing too long on just one thing. So what do I mean by anti-batching? What typically happens is that I have multiple projects going on at the same time that are equally urgent. So let's say, for example, a photo shoot is happening, I still need to plan our move and work on a YouTube video. All these three things have to move along simultaneously. So instead of batching tasks by project and doing everything for the photo shoot on one day and then doing everything for the video on the other day and doing all the moving, planning and logistics stuff on the next day, I'll pick one urgent task for each category and switch between the topics mindfully. So for example, I might start scripting my new video in the morning, then work on a storyboard for the shoot, and after that, get started with the list of things we need to sell before our move. And of course, this does not mean jumping from task to task randomly and getting distracted. I will still try and finish each task before switching, but working this way really helped me stay mentally sharp and avoid getting stuck in kind of a creative rut that to me sometimes happens when I focus on the same thing for too long. And honestly, this applies to almost anything. Sometimes the best thing you can do is step away from whatever you're doing and then come back to it a little later with fresh eyes, maybe even new ideas and some new motivation. That said, some people thrive on the complete opposite and love batching all their work into one focus block. So I guess, like with many other things, you just have to try it out and see what works best for you. Something else that I absolutely love to do is, so while I obviously focus on the most urgent tasks because that's what needs to get done, I still love throwing in one or two very easy, simple, small wins in between. Because sometimes those very urgent tasks can be extremely time-consuming and mentally draining. So having something small and quick and easy in between those bigger and larger tasks can really help break it all up a little bit. It gives me this little boost of accomplishment, really signaling my brain, hey, you've just done something and it was quick and easy. Good job, now keep going. But seriously, it really does fuel me for like the bigger tasks that are upcoming. And it's kind of a nice way to keep that momentum and the motivation going without burning out halfway through your day. Okay, again, so we've got the to-do list ready. Everything is color-coded and prioritized and categorized and structured. Love that for us. Now the real question comes in, how do we now actually get some quality work done and not just drop the pen because we finished a to-do list, now we can binge watch Netflix as some kind of reward? Been there, done that. It's all about locking in, so let's talk about focus. Here's what helps me really lock in. And I mean really lock in. I use my walking pad, I play some lo-fi study music, I drink my green tea. On some days I'll have my ashwagandha and some dark chocolate. And this combination, my friends, is the absolute deep focus combination. You will be surprised by how deeply you will be focused for hours on end. I could go into the benefits and scientific reasons behind it, but honestly, I would love for you to just try it out and see what an insane difference it makes. Those little rituals will tell my brain it is go time, almost to a point where I have to force myself to take a break because I'm so locked in. Compared to the days where I don't do these things and have to physically drag myself to the desk to do some kind of work, but then get distracted super easily. Oh, and I also set a timer, usually 60 to 90 minutes. Put my phone on airplane mode, which helps minimize distractions, but also reminds you to take that break after the timer is up and like that first time block is over. And do that deep focus work plus break 3 to 4 times until you get to 4 hours of really good deep focus work. And one of the most helpful things here is to actually keep a deep focus work log, because I actually found that it's quite shocking to see when you track it, how much time you think you're working, but you're not actually really locked in or making any significant progress. And to realize on those days where you're just kind of going through the motions, where it feels like you've been busy all day, but you barely got any work done. And the truth is, you don't need that many hours of deep work. If you're really focused for 4 hours of actual intentional work, you would be surprised that that is more than enough to make some serious progress. And this intentional, deeply focused work goes hand in hand with some proper breaks. Without those real breaks, your next deep focus session just won't reach its full potential. So when the timer goes off, you and I are taking a proper break. Not a quick scroll through Instagram. Not let's watch one episode or YouTube video. No, a real break, like laying down for a few minutes and closing my eyes, listening to calming nature sounds or some soothing frequencies, taking a walk without a podcast or audiobook or some other distraction. just letting your brain fully chill, or doing some deep diaphragmatic breathing, or doing some stretches or a short yoga video. Those I actually really like on those days where I've been sitting a lot and maybe not using my walking pad during my work blocks. And bonus points when you get some sunlight while doing any of these things. So step outside, do one of these things as your actual break, and your brain and mental health will really thank you for it. And last but definitely not least is force yourself to stop working at a certain time. This is to this day incredibly tough for me, especially someone who's self-employed and working from home. There's basically zero boundaries between work and relaxing at home, unless you make yourself to really create them for yourselves. So yeah, honestly, I'm the worst at this tip myself, and I should follow it more, but try and cut off work around 5 or 6 p.m, close your laptop, turn off your notifications, step away, and don't forget to take one last look at your crossed off to-do list for the day, because that will really help you step away with a lot less guilt. Because on the days where I actually follow all the things that we just talked about, I get a lot done, much more than I give myself credit for or that I even would expect. So usually at the end of the day, 5 to 10 items are completely crossed off, some bigger than others, but fact is I got it done. And looking at those crossed off items at the end of the day really gives me a chance to pause and acknowledge just how much I've accomplished that day. And I'm able to leave my workspace for that day with the thought of, I did my best, and everything that I couldn't get done today just has to wait for tomorrow. And honestly, after you have done 4 hours of that truly deep focus work, your brain will likely be fried in a good way. You should feel energized from all the things that you accomplished that day, but also tired, so that you actually want to take your evening off and enjoy it. And then the next day, you just repeat that whole process. But trust me, do this consistently for at least 1 week, and then look back and realize how much you were able to get done in just 7 days. That bird's eye view really makes it so obvious how much you can actually accomplish in 1 week when you truly fully commit and work smarter and not harder. And that realization is so powerful, because you will feel like you've got control back again, and everything that's left on the to-do list can be tackled on time and is absolutely manageable and doable.